Ever wondered how fingerprint sensors recognize you amongst the 7 billion people in the world? It's all down to the unique features of your fingerprint. Think of your fingerprint as a snowflake. No two are exactly alike. This uniqueness is primarily due to 3 different types of patterns: loops, whorls, and arches. Loops swoop back upon themselves, creating a circular pattern. Whorls form circular or spiral patterns like tiny labyrinths on your fingertips. Arches, on the other hand, rise in the center and create a wave-like pattern. But it's not just these patterns that make your fingerprint unique. There are also what we call minutiae. These are specific points in your fingerprint, like where a ridge ends or splits. These points of minutiae are different in every individual. So it's these unique patterns and features that fingerprint sensors use to identify us. So, how does a tiny sensor on your smartphone manage to read these intricate patterns? Well, there are 2 main types of fingerprint sensors: optical and capacitive. Each has its own unique way of capturing the details of your fingerprint. Let's start with optical sensors. These work much like a digital camera, using light to capture an image. When you press your finger against the sensor, it shines light onto your skin. Your ridges, being closer to the sensor, reflect more light and appear lighter in the image. The valleys, conversely, reflect less light and appear darker. The sensor then captures this pattern of light and dark, creating a digital representation of your fingerprint. Now let's move on to capacitive sensors, which work a bit differently. They take advantage of the fact that the human body naturally conducts electricity. When you place your finger on a capacitive sensor, it doesn't capture an image like an optical sensor. Instead, it measures the electrical current flowing across the surface of your skin. The ridges of your fingerprint being closer to the sensor allow more current to flow and are detected as higher electrical charge. The valleys, being further away, allow less current to flow and are detected as lower electrical charge. This variation in charge creates a map of your fingerprint's unique pattern. Each sensor type has its benefits. Optical sensors are generally less affected by dirt or moisture on the finger, making them more reliable in harsh conditions. Capacitive sensors, on the other hand, are less likely to be fooled by a picture or replica of a fingerprint, making them more secure. In essence, both optical and capacitive sensors work by translating the physical ridges and valleys of your fingerprint into a digital format that a computer can understand. They might use different methods: light for optical sensors and electricity for capacitive ones, but their goal is the same: to capture the unique details of your fingerprint. While they work differently, both types of sensors aim to capture the unique details of your fingerprint. Now that we know how sensors capture fingerprints, how do they accurately recognize them? Fingerprint recognition is like a high-tech game of connect the dots. It all begins when you place your finger on the sensor. This step, known as image acquisition, is where the sensor captures an image of your fingerprint. But it's not just a simple snapshot. The sensor is actually picking up on the unique pattern of ridges and valleys that makes your fingerprint distinctively yours. But the image isn't perfect. It may be too dark, too light, or smudged. That's where pre-processing comes in. This step cleans up the image and enhances it to make sure the most important details, the ridges and valleys, stand out. Think of it like adjusting the brightness and contrast on a photo, only much more sophisticated. Once the image is crisp and clear, we move on to feature extraction. This is where the system really starts to get to know your fingerprint. It identifies and records specific points of interest on your fingerprint, known as minutiae. These could be where a ridge ends or where one splits into 2. These minutiae are like landmarks on a map, helping the system to navigate your fingerprint. Finally, we get to the matching stage. Now the system compares the newly captured fingerprint image with the one it has on file. It's not looking for an exact match. That would be nearly impossible due to the minor changes that can occur between scans. Instead, it's looking for a close enough match. If the points of interest align in the right way, the system recognizes the fingerprint as yours. And voila! That's how a fingerprint sensor recognizes you. It's a complex process, cleverly designed to ensure that the person using the device is really you. Each time you place your finger on the sensor, it goes through this process to verify your identity. Hardware alone doesn't make fingerprint recognition possible, so what's the role of software in this? The software plays an integral role in fingerprint recognition, functioning as the brain behind the operation. Its job is to analyze the data captured by the hardware, extract the unique features of the fingerprint, and compare it with stored data. Let's break it down. Once the fingerprint sensor captures an image of your fingerprint, the software jumps into action. It starts with a process known as image enhancement. This involves improving the quality of the fingerprint image, removing noise, and enhancing the contrast between the ridges and valleys. A high-quality image is crucial for accurate recognition. Next comes feature extraction. The software identifies and records the unique features of your fingerprint, such as ridge endings and bifurcations. These features, also known as minutiae, are like the landmarks on a map, giving each fingerprint its unique identity. Once the features are extracted, they are converted into a digital format. This is known as template generation. The software creates a digital representation of your fingerprint, not an actual image, ensuring your personal data is secure. Now, on to matching. The software compares the newly captured fingerprint data with the pre-existing data. This involves complex algorithms that calculate the degree of similarity between the two sets of data. If the match is above a certain threshold, it's a match. You're granted access. Last but not least, decision-making. The software decides whether the fingerprint is a match or not and sends a signal to grant or deny access. Fingerprint recognition software uses intricate algorithms and processes to ensure quick and accurate identification. These algorithms are continually being refined and improved to provide more reliable and secure systems. The software is the unsung hero of fingerprint recognition, working behind the scenes to provide a seamless and secure user experience. It's a fascinating blend of computer science and biometrics, creating a system that's as unique as the fingerprints it recognizes. The combination of hardware and software makes the quick and accurate fingerprint recognition we use daily possible. Fingerprint sensors have come a long way, but where are they headed in the future? The evolution of fingerprint sensors has been nothing short of fascinating. What started as a simple static method of identification has now transformed into an intricate, dynamic system of biometric security. And it doesn't stop there. The future holds even more promise for this technology. One area of rapid advancement is in-display fingerprint sensors. These are not only aesthetically pleasing, eliminating the need for a separate sensor pad, but they also offer an extra layer of convenience. Imagine your screen is not just a window to your digital world, but also a key to unlock it. The beauty of this technology lies in its seamless integration into the user experience. Another exciting development on the horizon is three-dimensional fingerprint scanning. Traditional fingerprint sensors capture a two-dimensional image of the fingerprint. While this has served us well, it does have its limitations. In contrast, a three-dimensional scanner captures the ridges and valleys of the fingerprint in vivid detail. This not only increases the accuracy of the identification process, but it also makes it harder for potential intruders to spoof the system. In the grand scheme of things, these advancements point to a future where fingerprint sensors offer increased security and convenience. The dream is to create a world where you can authenticate your identity with a simple touch, no matter where you are or what device you are using. But let's not forget, the future of fingerprint sensors is not just about improving the technology itself. It's also about exploring new ways to use this technology, from secure payments and personalized settings to health monitoring and beyond. So, as we stand on the brink of this exciting future, one thing is clear. As technology continues to evolve, so too will the ways we use fingerprints for identification. The future of fingerprint sensors is bright, and we are just getting started. So, we've delved into the fascinating world of fingerprint sensors. But what are the key takeaways? First and foremost, we learned that each of us has a unique fingerprint. This uniqueness is what makes fingerprint sensors a secure method of identification. We discovered the two types of sensors used to read these unique patterns: optical and capacitive. We then took a deep dive into the process of fingerprint recognition. From the initial scan to the final match, it's a complex process that happens in the blink of an eye. We also learned about the integral role of software in fingerprint recognition. It's the software that processes the information from the sensor and compares it to stored data. And finally, we explored the future of fingerprint sensors. With advancements in technology, these sensors are becoming more secure, more accurate, and more integrated into our everyday lives. Next time you unlock your phone with a simple touch, remember the complex technology that makes it all possible. Until next time, stay curious.